This, not that. Beginner Fish Edition. This, not that. I choose mollies over goldfish every single time, and that is because they are hardy, peaceful, and they can help you with algae. They're not as messy, and well, you get the same kind of colors, and they're slightly smaller. They don't require as big of a tank as a goldfish does. I will say that they are live bearers, and that's a bit of a downside, but trust me, they're much better than goldfish. There's a misconception in this hobby that goldfish are beginner fish. They're just simply not. They require a much bigger tank than they're usually kept in. They're extremely messy. They poop constantly. They eat a lot, and you cannot own live plants with a goldfish. They're gonna eat them. Goldfish just require more specific care than a molly does, where mollies are a lot hardier and a lot different, parameters and fluctuations that are friendly for a beginner. This, not that. If you're a beginner, go with Neocaridina rather than Caridina because they're easier to take care of, they're a little bit hardier, there's a million different variations, and they're cheaper overall than their Caridina counterparts. Now, Caridina are cooler looking. They have a lot of different variations that are really, really sweet, but they're a little bit more finicky when it comes to water parameters. They need it very specific, and they're pretty sensitive when things change, and that's not very beginner friendly. So to get your foot in the door in the shrimp world, go Neocaridina and then evolve into Caridina shrimp. This, not that. Maybe it's because I'm a grade A neon tetra hater, but cardinals are just the better of the two varieties. They're pretty much the same fish, but cardinals are a little bit bigger, they're hardier, they're usually well-bred, and they school a little bit better. And I just think that they're easier for a beginner. Neon tetra are great, and they look good, they school pretty good as well, less so than cardinals, but the main issue is that they are so heavily produced that their genetics and their breeding leads to poor fish health. So when you get them, they get a lot of ick, they die because of water fluctuations, things like that. They're just not as beginner friendly as a cardinal is. So I just recommend cardinal. This, not that. Ember tetras are great fish. They're hardy, they're very peaceful. I don't think I've ever seen one of my ember tetras ever nip at anything else. They can handle a wider fluctuation in parameters. They're usually pretty decently well bred, and I really like ember tetras. Also, they're not live bearers, so they don't produce as much. Now look, everybody loves guppies, I get it, but ember tetras are just hardier, and guppies are live bearers, right? Live bearers are usually a little bit harder to take care of for a beginner because they're constantly multiplying. I know earlier I said, hey, take the molly over the goldfish. Truthfully, a molly for a beginner is better than a goldfish, even with the downside of live bearers, right? But guppies are also sensitive, they're less well bred. It's just a fish that, you can do better with an ember tetra. I hope you like the